Hello everybody and welcome to Mr. Stansfield's education videos. Today we're taking a look at Photoshop Actions. I want to go through this very quickly. There are lots of videos, and especially one that I would recommend checking out is the Flern video on Actions that go kind of a much deeper dive into what to do, creating an action, things to look out for. Here's just the basics. What is an action? An action in Photoshop is a way to record a series of actions, a series of mouse clicks, tool items, palette selections, menu items. You can record what you're doing and then play it back later. And so let's go ahead and access our actions here from the window. You can go from Window, Actions, or you can click the little, if you see here, this little play icon, it'll extend the actions palette. And you can see here I've got a couple of folders with actions inside of them. Let's go to this cropping one here. So cropping's one of the sort of simplest things that I will often do. Cropping, resizing, adding text to an image. These are the things that I might do if I'm creating an action. Oftentimes it's something pretty simple like that. There are much more complicated actions, and one of the ones I would recommend definitely checking out is this Toon action. Toon Artist action, which is from the Photoshop blog. It was created by a user of Photoshop. Check it out. For now, we're just looking at the basics, right? So what is it? Well, you can record an action. Let's go ahead into our cropping here. Create an action by clicking this little plus button down here next to the trash can. Create a new action. We're going to call this test crop 2 because I've already got a 1. You can see crop test 1, test crop 2. And you can see that the red button is now recording. So what we're going to do is go ahead and crop this photo like this. And then we're going to confirm that crop by clicking the little check mark up here. You can see that the crop shows up now. We're going to hit stop. And you can also look at all of the things that are recorded. Okay. And if we go into our history and we just step back right here to the open, let's go ahead and select this particular action and hit play now, and it will crop it exactly how I just did. So this is just the basics. This is the most simple thing. Record something and then you can play it back. I wanted to show you, this is something that I use actions for a lot. I love this Wombo Art or Wombo Dream app. It creates these images with a lot of text here. And if I want the image alone, I have created a few actions that will crop those out. So in my cropping folder, I can see, and I'm just going to extend this to the left a little bit so you can see the text a little bit better. Wombo crop, Wombo vertical video resize, I have a bunch of different options here. What I'm going to do is select the Wombo crop. I'm going to show you what is involved. Cropping, selecting, filling, and set selection. There's 4 steps which each themselves have sub kind of parameters. I'm going to click on the Wombo crop, hit play, and the result is that that goes away. All right, so it runs through the action. The end result is this image here. That text is now gone. I'm left with the image alone, and then I can go and do something else with that image if I want to. In this case, often I will also do this other action that I created called expand and blur. If I hit play on this one, it will take that cropped file, expand it and blur it and resize it so that it will fit in a vertical video format, which has very specific sizing parameters. You can see it's taking a little while here. A lot of times actions will take a while if there's a lot of kind of crunching involved. When I say crunching, I mean if Photoshop is working hard to do something, as it does on this particular action, it can sometimes be take a little while to run the action. So you can see there are 2 kind of ways that I use, and I'll show you this. This is a little bit more involved, this particular expand and blur. This was something that I created. There's probably a simpler way to do it, but it was something that worked for me for this particular kind of file. Now, the cool thing about all these Wombos is that the app will actually export the file, the original file, and then we can go to our history here and go all the way up to the original file. It's the same size, it's the same dimensions, it has all the same parameters. If the app were to change those things, my actions are dead, and I'd have to figure out how to re-record those later. So that's it in a nutshell. Actions, you can record something and then you can play it back if you're doing the same kind of edit on a lot of different files. So that can be helpful to save some time in our workflow down the road. Hope you enjoyed this little brief introduction to actions.